All right, welcome back to another episode of Chip Theory. Today I'm talking about another Mixolydian mode. And Mixolydian mode is the fifth mode of the major scale. Uh, and we need to realize two things when we're trying to determine a Mixolydian scale. The first of which is the pattern for Mixolydian scales. So the pattern for a Mixolydian scale is going to be a series of whole and half steps. In this particular order, it's a whole step, a whole step, a half step, a whole step, a whole step, a half step, and a whole step. Again, it's going to be that pattern beginning on the fifth degree of a major scale. It's going to give you the Mixolydian scale or the Mixolydian mode. Again, that pattern is going to be the reverse or inverse of the Aeolian pattern. So if we can remember our natural minor scale or the Aeolian scale ascending as whole, half, whole, half, whole, we can simply say that pattern backwards to reach our Mixolydian pattern ascending as a whole step, a half step, a whole step, a half step, and a whole step. That's the first thing we need to realize about the Mixolydian mode. The second thing is the key that is relative major to our Mixolydian scale, or the key of which our keynote for Mixolydian is the fifth degree of. So here we have the chips laid out as a D flat here all the way to C on the right. So today we're going to be talking about the D flat Mixolydian mode. All right, D flat will be our keynote here on the left. D flat. And here we have D, E flat, E, F, G flat, G, A flat, A, B flat, B, and C. And the way we're going to determine our relative major scale, our relative major note to our D flat Mixolydian. So we move our D flat to the right here. And D flat is going to be 7 half steps or a perfect fifth above our root of our relative major key. So let's count down 7 half steps from D flat. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Well, 7 half steps down, we reach the note G flat here. Again, G flat is the farthest left chip of our group of 3 chips, or black keys on the piano keyboard. We have a G flat 7 half steps below D flat, or a fifth, right? So G flat will be our key signature that's shared between D flat Mixolydian, right? Which is 6 flats. We have B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and a C flat. Again, we can realize if we move, since our 12 half steps in the octave, if we have 7 down, we're going to have 5 in this direction. So from D flat to G flat here is a perfect fourth, or 5 half steps in this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Which also means that G flat, our relative major key, will land on the 4th degree of our D flat Mixolydian mode. Again, in the Mixolydian, your relative major always falls on the 4th degree of the scale. So we could simply play a G flat major scale starting on the D flat to reach our D flat Mixolydian, or we could form the scale using our pattern of whole steps and half steps. So the pattern was a whole step, a whole step. Here's our half step to our relative major note. We need a whole step, and then a half step. Now this is C flat from our key signature, so I'm going to go ahead and use a red chip there because this is a white key from C to C flat that's been flatted. So we'll go ahead and use that to remember, make it easier to remember C flat. And then our final whole step here will be back to our octave D flat. There. So let's remove the notes that are not in our D flat Mixolydian mode. Okay. And this leaves us the notes of D flat Mixolydian. Again, our pattern coming down is, if you can still see, this is the Aeolian pattern of a whole, half, whole, half, whole, using the notes of our Mixolydian mode. So we have, again, the pattern going up is the Mixolydian pattern, whole, half, whole, which are the notes D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat, and then D flat. And the pattern coming down is using our Mixolydian notes, but we have our Aeolian pattern, would be a whole, half, half, whole, a D flat, C flat, B flat, A flat, G flat, F, E flat, and D flat. Okay, here we have D flat, E flat, F, G flat. Here is our relative major. You can see the flats of G flat, the 6 flats, including a C flat, or a white chip that's been flatted here for a relative major of G flat. And if we move our G flat down here, we have the G flat major scale formed this way. G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat, D flat, E flat, and F. And if we were to give these scale degrees numbers, G flat would be 1, A flat is 2, B flat is 3, C flat is 4, D flat is 5, and D flat, the 5th degree, is going to be our Mixolydian modal note, or keynote, for our D flat Mixolydian scale, which we're discussing today on the 5th degree here. Our 6th degree is E flat, and our 7 is F natural. Okay, so let's remember those scale degrees. So when we move back to our Mixolydian position, we have scale degree 5 here, a D flat, from a relative major of G flat. So we have 5, D flat, 6, E flat, and 7, F. And back to our root of our relative major, G flat, 2, A flat, 3, B flat, and 4, C flat. Now, if we were to compare, something to note here about the C flat, if we compare our Mixolydian modal scale, D flat, to the D flat major scale, what we have is essentially a 7th degree here, or the last note, which has been flatted from a C natural, because in D flat major, the major scale based on our 5th degree, or mode here, it would have a C natural in D flat major. And in our relative major key of G flat, you have the C flat, which essentially causes the 7th degree here, or the 4th of the relative major, equals a flat 7 of the Mixolydian mode. So we have from C natural to C flat on that 7th degree. And the Mixolydian mode is the mode known to flat the 7th degree of the major scale of the keynote, right? So here's our flat 7. And it's, again, if we're talking about scale degrees, it's the 4th scale degree from a relative major here. So understanding that, we can form triads from the D flat Mixolydian mode. From alternating scale degrees, we simply skip 1. This is going to be our scale degrees from our relative major of G flat. If you recall, 5, 7, and 2 of G flat is going to be D flat, F, and A flat. 5, 7, 2 of G flat. Okay, and that is a major triad. All right. So the next one is going to be 6 root 3 of G flat, or E flat, G flat, B flat, which is minor. The next one is 7-2-4. Again, the 7-2-4 scale degrees always form a diminished triad. So 7-2-4 of G flat is F, A flat, C flat. And those are minor thirds, so that's diminished. Our fourth degree here, fourth chord, is the relative major, G flat, B flat, and D flat, or root 3/5 of a relative major, G flat, which is a major triad, of course. All right, the next one, or the fifth position here of Mixolydian, is the 2, 4, and 6 notes, scale degrees, A flat, C flat, and E flat, which is minor. Of course, our fifth degree of a fifth position chord of Mixolydian is a minor triad. In this case, A flat, C flat, and E flat. The next position here is the 3, 5, 7 scale degrees, B flat, D flat, and F, which is minor. And here we have the flat 7 scale degree, or it's the fourth scale degree on the flat 7 position of Mixolydian. We have 4, 6, and root. C flat, E flat, G flat, which is our flat 7 major triad. A C flat major triad on the 7th position of Mixolydian, the flat 7 position note. Again, this is the flat 7 position is what makes this unique from a major scale. This would just normally be a D flat major scale, but here we have a flat 7th degree of the C flat in this position here. And that flat 7 is a major triad in Mixolydian. Okay, so using that same principle, we can form 7th chords by alternating scale degrees and adding a 4th note. So over here on our first position, we had the 5-7-2-4 scale degrees from a relative major of G flat. 5-7-2-4 is going to be D flat, F, A flat, and C flat. D flat, F, A flat, C flat is a dominant 7th chord, meaning that we have a spacing of 4 half steps, 3 half steps, and 3 half steps, or a minor third here from the 2 scale degrees 2 and 4 over the major triad of D flat major. So D flat, F, A flat, C flat is dominant 7. Again, here from the 7 and 2, this is just like every other 5-7-2-4 scale degrees, dominant 7. You're going to have a 1 plus 2 interval between the 7 and 2, meaning that between F and A flat, you have a 1 plus 2. So F to G flat is 1 half step, and G flat to A flat is 2 half steps. That's the interval right here of your dominant 7 chord. And here, you're going to have a 2 plus 1 from 2 to 4. You have here A flat to B flat is 2 half steps, and B flat to C flat is 1 half step. So that's a 2 plus 1 for this interval here from your scale. 5-7-2-4, dominant 7 chord. Our next chord here was the 6 root 3-5 chord of G flat, or E flat, G flat, B flat, and D flat. All right, the second position chord is going to be our minor 7. E flat, G flat, B flat, D flat is a 3-4-3 spacing. It's going to have a 2+1 interval here between the 6 and the root, and a 1+2 between the 3 and the 5 scale degrees from your relative measure. The third chord here is the 7-2-4-6, F, A flat, C flat, and E flat. Again, 7-2-4-6 scale degrees are half diminished, meaning that between the 4 and the 6 you have a major third between C flat and E flat. That's 4 half steps. So again, it's a 3-3-4 spacing. You're going to have a 1+2 interval between 7 and 2 scale degrees, and a 2+1 between 2 and 4. Again, these scale degrees will hold true for all your modes and all your Mixolydian modes. It's just a matter of positioning. So our half diminished chord is here on the third position of Mixolydian in this case. In D flat Mixolydian, we have F, A flat, C flat, E flat. The fourth position chord here is our root 3-5-7 of our relative major, G flat, B flat, D flat, and F. This is a major 7 chord, 4-3-4 spacing in root position. It's going to have a 1+2 interval here between the 3 and the 5 scale degrees. Our fifth position, major 7 chord, is going to be a minor chord, right? In Mixolydian, the fifth position chord is a minor 7, built on the 2-4-6 root scale degrees of a relative major. In this case, G flat. We're going to have A flat, C flat, right? 2-4-6, E flat, and the root, G flat. Here we have an A flat minor 7 chord, A flat, C flat, E flat, G flat, the 2-4-6 root scale degrees. And it's going to have 2+1 intervals between its minor thirds here and here. Between 2 and 4 and 6 and root are both 2+1s. Alright, the sixth degree is 3-5-7-2, B flat, D flat, F, and A flat. 3-5-7-2 scale degrees. 3-5-7-2 is a minor 7 chord, and it's going to have 1+2s on its minor thirds. You see, although it's the same chord quality as the 5 chord in Mixolydian and the 2 chord of Mixolydian, the minor thirds are 1+2 intervals on this chord. They're 2+1s on this chord, and on the 6th chord, it's a 2+1 and a 1+2 here. However, it's in the second position of Mixolydian, the fifth position of Mixolydian, and the sixth position of Mixolydian. So these are your minor 7 chords, here, here, and here. The next chord was a flat 7, major 7, built on the 4-6 root 3 scale degrees of G flat, C flat, E flat, G flat, and B flat. We have here is a flat 7, C flat, major 7. It's going to have a 2+1 interval here between the 6th scale degree and the root. C flat, E flat, G flat, B flat. Okay, those are going to be your chords of D flat Mixolydian. Again, the qualities are a dominant 7, minor 7, half diminished 7, major 7, minor 7, minor 7, and a flat 7, major 7. So assuming our scale degrees don't change, I'm going to discuss the inversions of these particular chords based on their chord qualities and the relative spacing of half steps. Okay? So our dominant 7 chord here in the first position is a 4-3-3 spaced dominant 7 chord, D flat, F, A flat, C flat. When we invert the D flat to the top, we're left with a 3-2-3-3-2 position, starting on F, F, A flat, C flat, and D flat. Then we have a 3-2-4 position, starting on A flat, C flat, D flat, and F. We have a 2-4-3 position, dominant 7 chord inversion, C flat, D flat, F, A flat. Coming down is A flat, F, D flat, C flat, F, D flat, C flat, A flat, D flat, C flat, A flat, F, and C flat, A flat, F, D flat, or D flat 7 chord, right? Next chord here was the E flat minor 7. Minor 7s have a 3-4-3 spacing in root position. When we invert the minor 7, we have a 4-3-2 position starting on G flat. Right? A 4-3-2 starting on G flat. G flat, B flat, D flat, and E flat. To our 3-2-3 inversion starting on B flat, D flat, E flat, and G flat, to a 2-3-4 position starting on D flat, E flat, G flat, and B flat. Coming down is B flat, G flat, E flat, D flat, G flat, E flat, D flat, B flat, E flat, D flat, B flat, G flat, and D flat, B flat, G flat, E flat for E flat minor 7. The next chord was a half diminished chord, F, A flat, C flat, E flat. Half diminished chords are 3-3-4 spacing in root position. For their particular quality, it's a 3-3-4 starting on F. When we invert it, we're left with 3-4-2 inversion of half diminished chords, A flat, C flat, E flat, and F. To a second inversion, half diminished, 4-2-3 position, starting on C flat, E flat, F, and A flat, to our 2-3-3 position, starting on E flat, F, A flat, and C flat. Coming down to C flat, A flat, F, E flat, A flat, F, E flat, C flat, F, E flat, C flat, A flat, and E flat, C flat, A flat, F, or F half diminished. Our fourth position was a relative major, root 3-5-7 chord. It's a major 7, G flat, B flat, D flat, F. It's a 4-3-4 spacing in root position. Major 7 chord. When we invert this, we have a 3-4-1 position starting on D flat, 3-4-1, D flat, B flat, starting on B flat, D flat, D flat, F, G flat, B flat, D flat, F, G flat. To a 4-1-4 position, starting on D flat, F, G flat, and B flat. Do a 1-4-3 position, starting on F, G flat, B flat, and D flat. Coming down is D flat, B flat, G flat, F, B flat, G flat, F, B flat, G flat, F, B flat, B flat, and F, D flat, B flat, and G flat, or G flat major 7. On a fifth chord, the fifth position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of D flat Mixolydian, we have an A flat minor 7, A flat, C flat, E flat, G flat. It's a 3-4-3 spacing. When we invert it, we have a 4-3-2 position starting on C flat, E flat, G flat, A flat, to a 3-2-3 position starting on E flat, G flat, A flat, C flat, to our 2-3-4 starting on G flat, A flat, C flat, and E flat. Coming down as E flat, C flat, A flat, G flat, C flat, A flat, G flat, E flat, A flat, G flat, E flat, C flat, and G flat, E flat, C flat, A flat. Our next chord is the B flat minor 7, B flat, D flat, F, A flat, and this was a 3-5-7-2 scale degrees of a relative major. It's a 3-4-3 spacing as well. When we invert it, we have a 4-3-2 again, starting on D flat, F, A flat, B flat, to a 3-2-3 position starting on F, A flat, B flat, D flat, to a 2-3-4 position starting on A flat, B flat, D flat, and F. Coming down as F, D flat, B flat, A flat, D flat, B flat, A flat, F, B flat, A flat, F, D flat, and A flat, F, D flat, B flat, or B flat minor 7. Finally, our 7th position chord was our flat 7, C flat major 7, a 4-3-4 spacing, C flat, E flat, G flat, B flat. When we invert it, we have a 3-4-1, starting on E flat, G flat, B flat, C flat, to a 4-1-4 position, starting on G flat, B flat, C flat, E flat, to our 1-4-3 position, starting on B flat, C flat, E flat, and G flat. Coming down to G flat, E flat, C flat, B flat, E flat, C flat, B flat, G flat, C flat, B flat, G flat, E flat, and B flat, G flat, E flat, C flat. So again, these are chords of D flat Mixolydian. We had a D flat dominant 7, E flat minor 7, F half diminished 7, G flat major 7, A flat minor 7, B flat minor 7, and a flat 7, C flat major 7. And those are your chords of D flat Mixolydian.